Right, today we've got a 20 plus year old ATA GDO4 roll door opener, now called Automatic Technology, and it's owned by a completely different company. But we're hooking up some new modern key fob remotes, bringing this opener into the 21st century, because these old bricks aren't available. They were the size of an old cigarette packet, and the customer doesn't even have them anymore. So we're just checking the terminals to see if they all work, our open, stop, close terminal, and also where we're going to grab power from, which is from the PE beam output. It's got a nice stable 24 volts DC power output for our aftermarket receiver. So we'll just have to remove this circuit board. There's no proprietary plugs available for these, so it's much easier to whip it out and just quickly solder on all of our connectors. There's only 4 wires that need to go on, our power and ground, and our open, stop, close wiring. And then we just stick it on the side of the motor and program in our new key fobs. So that's our antenna wire for the old remotes. We'll just leave that connected. Now we'll pop over to our mobile workshop and get cracking. Now, I don't normally mention products on this channel, but this soldering iron from JMM Solutions that conveniently clips onto my always ready-to-go Makita batteries has been a game changer. I've had it for over a year now. Check out how quickly it heats up. It's roaring to go within seconds, saves me heaps of time, and just does the best job possible. So this is our aftermarket receiver we're using. The first thing we need to do is find a suitable power supply. So on these control boards, we can grab the power and common or ground from where the photoelectric beam output is. Check that out, already 420 degrees, raring to go. So behind this jumper here, you will find our power and ground. So first we're going to grab our red power wire and white ground wire and just ensure they are tinned properly, and then we'll connect our power wire to the outside terminal. Once that's set in, we'll connect our ground to the center terminal. Next we need to locate our open, stop, close input, which is from this terminal block here, the outside terminal again, and the inside terminal. So we'll pre-tin our blue and black wire on this particular receiver for our channel 1 output. Now it doesn't really matter which polarity you solder these wires on, because it's just a normally open and closed contact. So there we go, we've got our wiring all soldered in. That's our antenna wire, we'll just leave that connected. They're nice and secure. Now let's just neaten up these extra channel wires, we won't be needing those. Pop some heavy duty 3M outdoor tape on the back so we can mount it to the side of the motor. Now we need to reinstall the circuit board by plugging in all the connectors in reverse. Doesn't matter which way you plug them in, as long as they go back correctly. So that was the motor wire, that's on the left hand side because it's on the left hand side of the door. So we'll just get that mounted, put our control panel cover back on, and we'll pop all of the screws back in. Now we'll just reduce the torque setting of the Makita drill impact driver so we don't over tighten those screws into the plastic housing. That makes the job much easier as well. A very convenient feature of these modern impact drivers. You can use these as a screwdriver, a drill, heaps of tools in one these days with all the adapters you can get. Put our cable holder back in the corner there. So the job wouldn't be complete without losing the last and final screw. It's got to be around here somewhere. And we'll just pop that antenna wire back through. No point cutting that off. It may come in handy at a later date, but probably not. But we'll keep this factory. Make some little cutouts for the new receiver wiring there so we can put the light cover back on. Because obviously these motors weren't designed for it. We need to adapt. Now we're going to get our key fobs ready. These are a fantastic, really heavy duty key fob with long life lithium batteries. We'll put our keychain holders on the bottom there. A nice quick clip. Got some good lights coming on there, so the batteries are good. Now with this particular model receiver, it's very important to clear the memory first, because these will phantom open your garage door without you knowing, due to the test procedure they use in the factory, and they sometimes don't clear the memory. So that's a very important step that some people forget or don't realize they need to do. We'll tidy up the wiring there a bit. And now we'll program in our new key fobs. So it's important to watch this red light here. It should only flash when you press your key fob. If it flashes and you haven't pressed your key fob, it means someone else in the area has pressed their remote first and saved their remote into your key fob, receiver memory, which will cause your door to open when they press their remote. So keep an eye on that. There we go. A couple of brand new key fobs hooked to a 20-plus-year-old garage door opener, bringing it into the 21st century. And yes, I forgot to hook in our wired wall button, so we'll do that now. These ones are fantastic actually. There's a separate button for the light, which is actually missing from most modern garage doors. It's a cool little feature, but all garage door motors have a 3-minute light timer anyway. So there we go. And then we'll just tidy up the wall button wiring. The light works. Door goes up and down with both key fobs and a wall button. So we'll just clip that wall button wiring back in. Make everything nice and neat. The antenna wire hasn't been used. Funny thing is, that's been tied up like that for 20 years, but the remote still worked okay, apparently. So there we go, brand new key fobs. Updated garage door motor. This might go for another 5 or 10 years. I'm that roller door bloke. Thanks for watching.